Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera, salam madani dan salam UiTM di hatiku. Saya sebelum kita memulakan taklimat pada pagi ini, sama-samalah kita membaca umul kita Al-Fatihah. Semoga taklimat pagi ini yang akan disampaikan berjalan dengan lancar. Al-Fatihah. Amin, amin, amin ya rabbal alamin. Alhamdulillah, bersyukur kita kehadrat Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala kerana dengan izinnya kita bersama lagi berkumpul serta dapat mendengar taklimat pada pagi ini. Taklimat ini akan disampaikan oleh Ketua Pusat Pengajian Asasi TESL. Beruntungnya dapat mendengar sendiri daripada Ketua Pusat Pengajian Asasi TESL. Di kesempatan ini, kami dari seluruh warga Pusat Asasi mengucapkan tahniah dan selamat datang ke Pusat Asasi agar anda semua terus berjaya di dalam UiTM Pusat Asasi ini. Okey, sebelum saya meneruskan, saya ingin sedikitlah pengenalan penceramah ni. Baiklah, pada pagi ini amat bertuah, taklimat ini akan disampaikan oleh Madam Nur Hashimah Muhammad Syukur, Puan Nur Hashimah tapi dikenali di Pusat Asasi Madam Nur Hashimah. Setelah lama berkhidmat di Pusat Asasi dan sekarang menjawat jawatan Ketua Pusat Pengajian Asasi TESL. Terima kasih Madam sudi meluangkan masa untuk berkongsi taklimat ini dengan bakal-bakal pelajar kita yang akan hadir pada minggu hadapan. Tanpa membuang masa, saya rasa saya pass baton kepada Madam untuk terus memberi taklimat. Dipersilakan Madam, insyaAllah.
Okey, terima kasih Encik Amir atas jemputan dan pengenalan tadi. Untuk taklimat ini saya akan teruskan dalam bahasa Inggerisnya, jadi saya mohon izin dari pihak penganjur untuk meneruskan taklimat saya dalam bahasa Inggeris.
Teruskan, terus.
Okay. All right. This is going to take, I hope not too long, but maybe it's a glimpse of what it will be like here in Pusat Asasi, where you will be listening to lectures. So this is your first ever lecture. Yeah. Assalamualaikum everyone. As mentioned earlier, I am Madam Nur Hashimah Muhammad Syukur and I'm currently the Ketua Pusat Pengajian or Head of Program for Asasi TESL. Okay, and again, of course, I would like to congratulate everyone for getting the offer to be here, our students here, and specifically our TESL students here, because I'm sure you remember that it was not an easy process. You had to go through the online tests. And I've gone through social media, everyone saying that the questions are challenging. And yes, it is challenging, but you guys made it through. And then you went through the interview again, the whole day. Again, you made it through, and here you are, our creme de la creme. Again, congratulations. Welcome to Pusat Asasi. Now, for my briefing today, I'm going to be talking about the rules and regulations of the university, and I'm going to talk about the Asasi TESL program itself to give you an idea about what the program is all about. Let's look at the rules and regulations. Now, some of the rules and regulations here have already been explained to you, I believe, from the briefing from HEA and HEP before this, or maybe after this. So I'm going to breeze through some of the slides here, yeah? One of the things that you would have to do is your course registration process. And this is the checklist. Daftar kursus, bayar yuran, validasi kursus, cetak validasi, cetak slip exam, slip peperiksaan, ya. And this is from when you come in until at the end of the semester. Okay, a whole semester of 4 months, and then next semester when you come in for the second semester, you still have to do the same thing. How do you go about doing this? Like I mentioned earlier, I'm sure this has already been explained to you by HEA, and I believe the briefing was yesterday. The next one is to look at the academic calendar, and you can actually Google and just type academic calendar UiTM, and the first website is our website, and you will see a number of academic calendars, and you got to choose Pusat Asasi. Okay, you have to choose Asasi programs. And this is our academic calendar. And if you can see that it says here lecture from the 15th of June to the 2nd of August. Now, why is this important? If you, as I was saying just now, the lecture here starts from the 15th of June to the 2nd of August. And that means every day you have classes. And so you should not be planning for holidays or umrah and whatnot during this time. When should you do it? If you look further down, it says mid-semester test from the 3rd to the 9th of August, and then you have a mid-semester break from the 10th to 16th of August. That's 1 week off. You may go off to your hometown and go for a holiday, whatever it is that you want to do, because we don't have classes during that week. And you come back on the 17th of August until the 4th of October. So again, these are lectures that you must attend, lecture days, yeah, that you must attend. So you should not be missing these lectures. So this is why the academic calendar is important, so that you can plan with not only, you planning yourself, but also you planning with your family members. When can you go for Umrah? When can you go for a holiday? I'm sure you have plans going for a holiday, going for vacations and whatnot. And at times, you may have to let go of these plans because they coincide with your lecture dates. So please download the academic calendar and share it with your family members, your parents, so that you can plan accordingly. The moment you step in here, your obligation starts as a student, and the main obligation as a student is to attend lectures. And so that is the reason why this is very important, a document to you. Okay, so you can see over here the dates. All right, and then we have MUET. The briefing for MUET is going to be right after this one, and it is compulsory for all Asasi students, not just TESL, not just non-TESL students. Yeah, we've had before this students who thought that because we are TESL students, we don't need to sit for Malaysian University English test. No, MUET is an university entrance requirement. So you must have MUET. It doesn't matter what is your background, whether you're TESL student or not a TESL student, you must have done your your MUET. Yeah? So you must remember that it is compulsory for all university students, and if you do not sit for it, if you miss the test, miss the dates and whatnot, it is important for you to inform us as soon as possible. But at the end of the day, MUET is your responsibility. So the briefing for MUET is right after this briefing. Listen to that briefing very carefully because there are dates, okay? Dates, due dates, and so on and so forth that you must adhere to. MUET is not just for UiTM, MUET is for everyone, people in matriculation, students from matriculation, students from Polytechnic, and so on and so forth. So they're not going to be opening it just for you, all right? So you must make sure that you adhere to the dates. Okay, be aware. Next one, let's talk about attendance. The attendance, the policy here is the 80% attendance requirement, and you will be given a ZZ if you fail to attend classes without valid documents, okay, valid reasons. You don't have MCs from Pusat Kesihatan. Pusat Kesihatan is just in here. When you come in here, you will see it's all in the same compound, so it's not a problem to go to Pusat Kesihatan. If you don't have any, say for example, documents such as a death certificate, let's say there's been a death in a family, a close family member, then you have to provide us with the document. Okay, without these documents, you will be considered to be absent without any valid reasons, and so it will be considered as without permission. Okay, and so you may get the ZZ, and if you get to the point where you get to the ZZ status, you will be barred from sitting for final examinations. Of course, before you get to that point, we'll give you a warning letter and so on and so forth. Okay, so please take care of your attendance. Next one is the extracurricular activities, and this is also compulsory for all students, not just TESL students, for all the students here in Pusat Asasi, because 10% of that contributes towards your UPU application, which you will fill in sometime around maybe April to May 2027. Okay, so you have to have your extracurricular activities. There are many activities over here. You can join anything that you fancy, as long as you join them and you get that 10% merit. And then we have the surveys. We have the entrance and exit survey at the beginning and at the end of the semester. And then you also have to complete the SUFO survey at the end of the semester. Now, of course, right now it might seem like, how am I going to remember all this? You have mentors, which I'm going to talk about later, who will remind you. Your lecturers basically will remind you. Make sure you respond to the surveys. Make sure that you fill in the entrance survey, exit survey, the SUFO survey. And SUFO is very important. If you don't fill it in, you can't have access to your exam results. Yeah. Okay, this one you saw just now before we started, but I'm still gonna let you have a look at it again. Sasiah rupa diri pelajar UiTM. You are in a university. You must dress professionally. Not I mean, we don't expect you to be in ties and blazers all the time, but you have to be decent. You have to be professional. You have to be clean, and you have to project yourself as someone who is in pursuit of knowledge. So if you can look at this, the images that we have here, this is what is allowed for you within the compound. All right, let's move on to the next one. I'm going to talk about the program itself. I see on social media people asking, maybe some of you have asked that question as well. What is the program about? Is it about improving our English language proficiency? To a certain extent, that is correct. But I also see some answers which are not exactly accurate. So I hope that you will be receiving information that will clear up any form of confusion. And I'm going to talk about two things here. I'm going to talk about two aspects. The first one is Pusat Asasi. The first one is about the organizational structure. The program is connected, associated with two different entities. The first one is Pusat Asasi and the second one is the Faculty of Education. Pusat Asasi is known as our Pengurus Utama or PU. Everything is done here. In other words, Pusat Asasi manages you, everything, your exams, your classes. Where are your classes? What time are your classes? Your timetable. If you have any issues, financial issues and whatnot, it's all here in Pusat Asasi, not at the Faculty of Education. Yeah, Pusat Asasi handles everything from A to Z when it comes to you, and that's it. All right, they do all that. Then we have the Faculty of Education. The Faculty of Education works closely with Pusat Asasi in relation to the academic matters. So when it comes to curriculum reviews, when it comes to assessments, when it comes to testing and so on and so forth. When it's academic, we work closely with the Faculty of Education. And this is what it looks like, yeah? So at the very top, we have our director, Professor Dr. Haji Sulhairi Haji Amum, he is our director. And then we have three deputy directors, and I'm right underneath, Deputy Director Academic Research and Innovation, Dr. Haniza Hazliza Abdul Khalil. This is the organizational structure for Pusat Asasi. Now, what is Asasi TESL? Okay, firstly, let's look at the technical aspect of it. The first one is that it's just a 1-year prep program, 2 semesters minimum. It's an in-depth skill-based program. Okay, later we'll look at why is it called why is it in-depth? That is a very important term here, yeah? And it focuses on enhancing students' English language proficiency. You guys are all students who had obtained A in your English subject for your SPM. You passed the test. You also passed the interview. That means you are all here highly competent students. So we want to push you higher than that. Okay, you are very competent already. We push you higher than that. And that's why it says here focuses on enhancing students' English language proficiency. It is also an entry to undergraduate courses. Another question, a very famous question, kalau masuk Asasi TESL boleh jadi cikgu je ke? First of all, kenapa je? All right, number 2, no. You do not have to go into the education field if you don't want to. If that's not your cup of tea, you don't have to. but it is considered as an entry to undergraduate courses in public universities via UPU, and you can do whatever you want. Let's say at the end of Asasi TESL, you decide, I want to go into mass comm. Can you? Yes, you can. I don't want to be doing anything with language, but instead, I want to do law, for example. Yes, you can. All right. Your seniors are everywhere. They are at Akademi Pengajian Bahasa. They are at law faculty. They are also at the business faculty, tourism, mass comm. Every social science faculty is open to you, of course, subject to the entry requirements by each faculty. Yeah? But our main objective at the end of the day is to prepare you for the TESL program. Okay, but you can go into non-TESL undergraduate programs. The hope primarily is that you will apply into the Faculty of Education and become teachers. Okay, or be in the education sector. But if you don't want to, it's okay. You can still use Asasi TESL as your entry to any other non-education courses. Not just in public universities, but also in private universities. Now let's look at the program description. What is the foundation in teaching English as a second language, or Asasi TESL? What does it do? It prepares students for entry into the Bachelor of Education Teaching of English as a Second Language at UiTM and other local institutions, or of higher learning. Okay, so this is what I meant just now. Primarily, that's what we do. We prepare you for Bachelor of Education TESL. That's what we want you to be able to progress into after Asasi. But if you don't want to, that's why there's that part that says other local institutions of higher education and other related degree programs. That's our first description. It is also a program that is supposed to give you a unique interdisciplinary learning experience, but we focus on the core English language skills. Now, if you feel that, I want to go into teaching, this is where we teach you what is, how to read well, how to write effectively, how to listen, how to speak and write with correct grammar, along with introductory courses in literature and drama. As I mentioned earlier, primarily that's what you are prepared for a TESL program in the degrees for your degree studies. And so that's why you have reading, writing, listening, speaking, and grammar. But if you don't want to, you still go through the same thing, all right? You still do reading, writing, listening, speaking, and grammar. But you can go into mass comm, for example, where you will still need the same skill. You need to be able to read well. You need to be able to write well. You need to be able to listen carefully for details. You need to be able to speak clearly, and in correct and accurate grammar. So it's interdisciplinary in a sense that it is a skill that you can use not just in the teaching of English language, but in other areas of specialization as well. Is it versatile? Yes, it is versatile because it strengthens your English language proficiency. And at the same time, you are required to enhance your critical thinking and creative skills. So again, these are not skills limited to the education program. These are skills that are applicable and in fact required when you go into other non-TESL programs as well. Let's have a look at your timetable. How do we live up to all? How do we achieve the 3 descriptions just now? Let's have a look at the timetable. This is the timetable of your senior before this. Yeah, we don't have your timetable yet, but soon you will have it. But so this should give you a glimpse of what your life is like during the lecture time. Okay, now if you look at the very top, it says there, kumpulan PI020. You guys need to remember that you are PI020 T1. That means you are in class T01. You're the first class. But it doesn't mean that that's the best class or anything. Yeah, it has no bearing to your proficiency. You are put in different groups randomly. It's just, this is group number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on and so forth. Now for T1, if you look at, let's look at Monday, 8 to 9, 9 to 10, okay, or 8 to 8:50, and then 9 to 9:50. If you don't have anything there, it means that you're free. It means that you don't have any classes at that time. But if you look on over to the next slot, it says from 10 to 10:50, and then from 11 to 11:50, you have CTU 071. Okay, and who teaches you CTU? Dr. Azman, right here. Sorry, Dr. Azima. All right, and where is it? You can see at the very bottom, it says DKD2A1. All right, so BK, bilik kuliah. All right, D2, dynamic 2. All right, dynamic 2 is where you had your interview. And then A1 is aras 1. Okay, and then 12 to 150, again, there's a gap. But then at 2 o'clock, all right, until 3:50, you have another class. This is TESL 051, and it's taught by Miss Hayati. Where is your class? BK D12A3. Okay, so where is BK? What is BK? BK is bilik kuliah. If it's BK, it's bilik kuliah. If it's DK, it's day one kuliah. So BK, bilik kuliah. Where is this bilik kuliah? Is it at dynamic? If it's D, it's dynamic. If P, it's progressive. It is E, it's etika. Yeah? D12, A3 means it's aras 3, level 3. So for T1 students, your Monday looks like this. For the whole of the semester, no changes for you. Okay, so just like that. But you can see on Tuesday, you have 6 hours back to back. And then on Wednesday, you have 6 hours back to back again with a bit of a gap. And then you have TESL 041. So for Tuesday, it's back to back from 8 o'clock, but you finish at 1. After that, you're free to do whatever it is that you want to do. Okay, so this is what your timetable is going to look like. It's not going to be the same with the other classes. So T1 is like this, T2 would have a different timetable, T3 would have a different timetable, and so on and so forth. All right, so we have Monday to Friday. Friday is only half a day because the other half a day of Friday is for your extracurricular activities. And then Saturday and Sunday, of course, you don't have classes with us, yeah? Okay. Again, how do we help you? How do we make sure that you can achieve our objectives, our description of the program earlier? If you have a look at this, it says TESL 014. Now, if you see it's written TESL, it means that it is a TESL code. If it is CTU, it's a non-TESL code. Okay, what is TESL 014? That's reading. TESL 024, that's writing. 034, listening and speaking. 041, grammar. 051 is college study skills, and TESL 082 is introductory literature. This is from last semester, yeah. So it's not going to be the same with yours. So what your lecturers have done is that we'll come up with this table, and each main person for each subject will put a tick to the weeks, all right, to inform all the other lecturers. These are our due dates. We have assignments or presentations. These are our due dates. So if you look at, let's say, week 5, in week 5, your TESL 014 assignment or presentation is due, and that's it. But you can see in week 7, you've got TESL 034, TESL 041, and TESL 051. So it can be an assignment, it can also be a presentation, or it can be that you've got a quiz or a test. Okay. In week 6, is it? Sorry, week 7. Okay, so in week 7, you've got 3 forms of assessment to be submitted or for you to sit for. So you need to plan your time accordingly. We don't share this with you. This is for us, you know. And but the reason why we have this is so that we can see where you're the busiest and so on and so forth. And sometimes some of the lecturers, what they do is, okay, maybe we don't put in week 7 because they're already bogged down with 3 assessments. Let's look at other weeks. For example, week 8, there's nothing there. Let's try and put in week 8. All right, so that's what they do. So what you need to do, however, is to have your own diary and jot down the dates. The first day of class is the most important because the first day of class is when all your lecturers are going to share with you the assessments and the due dates, even up to the end of the semester. So if you got 3 assessments for TESL 014, for example, one due in week 5, one due in week 10, and one due in week 14, we will tell you on the first day of class what the subject is all about, and then we'll tell you how we assess you, and then we will tell you when are the due dates for these 3 assessments. If you look at this one, midterm, this one is on one whole week, yeah, one stretch of week. Okay, but you've got 3 assessments here. and then you go for another class, your TSL 024 lecturer will give you the due dates as well. So you need to jot it down. Okay, we've jotted it down for ourselves. You need to jot it down for your own reference. Okay, what are your assessments like? What do we look at? What are we looking for? If you look at the image that I have right now, it's cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. We're looking at your cognitive, the head, where we look at your ability to think and critically, to have intellectual discourse or sharing sessions. We also look at the affective aspect of it, which has something to do with feelings and emotions. So we look at how you express your emotions and how you express your feelings towards a particular issue. We also look at your psychomotor. How do you do something or you perform something, right? So it's one is thinking up here. One has something to do with the heart, how you feel about something and how you express that feeling. And then how do you move? Okay, so we look at all these three. How do we do that? Okay, we look at, let's look at all these one by one, but I'm not going to go through them all, but just to give you a bit of an idea. Yeah? Let's look at cognitive first. Yeah, this is the three. Before we go to cognitive, if you look at cognitive skills, at the end of the day, what do we want to do? We want to encourage students to think and solve problems with using facts, with scientific reasoning. That's why it's intellectual. That's why it says here thinking. That's why it says here intellectual. Okay, that's cognitive. When you look at affective, where we want students to be more interactive with each other despite differences, and to be more to be more confident. Right. So if you're afraid to talk to your friends, you should be able to explain why you're afraid to talk to this person, but then find a way to deal with that. Okay, so you want to talk about feelings, but it's not just about feelings, your feelings. Yeah? It can also be issues and what you think about that issues from an emotional perspective. Why are some people angry when they read this article, for example? So it's not just your feelings, but also trying to understand other people's feelings. And then we have psychomotor skills. This is physical activities. Let's look at the first one, which is Bloom's taxonomy. It's called Bloom's taxonomy. This is cognitive. This is head. Okay, what do we look at? We look at from the bottom, yeah, the easiest, which is from remembering all the way to creating. So creating is the most challenging. Now, if you look at the next one, this is affective. Right, this is feelings. From receiving, how do you receive people telling you about how they feel or how what they think about you and so on and so forth, all the way to characterizing. And characterizing refers to when it comes to emotions, talking about how you can stand strongly on an issue, for example. So that's why it is the highest level. And then we have psychomotor, which starts from origination all the way to perception. How do we translate this? This is also something that your lecturers will show you in the first day of class. Let's look at an example here. The first one is course learning outcome. This is the course learning outcome, means that this is the outcome that we would like to achieve. We would like you to achieve at the end of the course, at the end of the semester. Yeah. For example, in grammar, we have by the end of the course, students should be able to apply basic grammatical rules and features of English language principles in various texts. This is cognitive. In literature, we have students should be able to demonstrate an appreciation for literary text. It's appreciation. So this is affective. Now, that doesn't mean there is no amount of cognitive ability required for affective. Yeah, in order for you to be able to talk about your feelings, you must be able to have some amount of cognitive ability. So there is still cognitive aspect in there, but it's more on affective. We look at more on affective. And then in language and drama, that's where you perform. Or in listening and speaking, that's where you stand at the front of the class and you give speeches. So this is where we look at your hand gestures, your voice projection, your intonation, and so on and so forth, right? So we cover 3 here that I showed you earlier, okay, across the subjects. And sometimes some subjects would have more than one. Okay, let's look at that. All right. So this is course learning outcome. And then you have lesson learning outcome. And this is at every lesson. And this can be an outcome that can be for 2-3 weeks, for example. Let's look at the first one. Students will be able to identify the rules for correct use of simple present tense. This is cognitive because you have to remember, you have to memorize, you have to understand. This is cognitive. You can't say, oh, that's not the right answer. I think differently about it. That's not right because there's only one answer for that. Okay, so that's what it's cognitive. And then the next one, you have students will be able to express personal reflections on the themes in a literary text. That's for literature. It's effective. Students will be able to present a short dramatic scene using appropriate vocal projection, gestures, and facial expressions. And this is psychomotor. And you do all these three, not in just one class. For example, let's look at the last one. Students will be able to present a short dramatic scene. This is probably something that we will do over 3 weeks. To have most of you to be able to go up on stage and say, all right, let's try and act out a situation. I'm your mother, you are my son, and we're having a big fight, for example. Okay, let's do that, okay? So that could be this week and next week. This week we do anger, next week we do happiness, the next other week we do annoyance and things like that. Present tense, for example, will probably be covered over 3 weeks. It could be that, all right? I'm going to show you the progression, and I'm going to focus on literature. These are the course learning outcomes for literature. Course learning outcomes, if you recall, I mentioned it's what we want you to be able to achieve at the end of the program. We have analyzed the use of literary elements, construct an interpretation of literary text critically and analytically, and demonstrate appreciation. And if you look at course learning outcome 1, that is actually cognitive. And from cognitive, we go into this one, learning outcomes, learning goals. What are the learning goals? If you can see, the first one is the easiest, level 1. Just identify what are the literary elements in literature. We've got setting, we've got theme, we've got characters and all that. You just got to remember them. You just got to memorize them. But if you look at the end, number 6, produce a critical analysis or presentation that integrates multiple literary elements to interpret a literary text. Okay, for you to get to 6, of course, you have to have already mastered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. When do we do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6? The whole semester. So when your lecturers ask you, what are the elements in literature? That means we are looking at number 1. If we ask you, give me some examples of themes, that's number 3. Let's say we ask you, what do you think is the importance of the setting in that text? That is number 5, because you have to evaluate why is it important? Why did the author write it in such a way? Why did the author choose that setting? And number 6, you have to write an analysis about a particular theme, text that we're working on, probably over a course of 3 weeks or 4 weeks. Okay, so there is a progression, and you must master all these levels, in order for you to go up. Final exam, of course, have number 1 and 2 anymore. We go straight to 4, 5, and 6. The same subject would also have lesson learning outcome focusing on effective, which is CLO3, demonstrate appreciation of literary text. And again, you can see that there are 5 levels here, and the first one is the easiest. Demonstrate awareness of the literary and cultural significance. What is the cultural element in that text? It's a celebration of Deepavali, a celebration of Hari Raya, a celebration of Chinese New Year, Christmas, and so on and so forth. That means you are aware. What are the cultures in there? But do you understand it? Do you know why it's important to the different groups of people and all that? That's not in level 1. When we say, for example, in your opinion, the moment we ask you, in your opinion, we are no longer at 1. We are going 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay? When do we do this? In the same class, we can ask you, what are the elements? That means we're focusing on cognitive. But later on, maybe half an hour later or 45 minutes later, we will ask you, well, what do you think about that? Do you think that's correct? Do you think that's right? Do you agree with that? We're already asking you your opinions from an effective perspective. So literature, we don't have psychomotor. Drama, we have psychomotor. So I'm not showing you psychomotor after this, but just to let you see what the program is like. We have cognitive, as I had shown you earlier. Okay. cognitive, affective, and psychomotor, and you will do different things in different classes. For example, in grammar, it's focused more on cognitive. In literature, it's cognitive and affective. In drama, it's a lot more psychomotor and affective, right? So you will do different things. So you have to tap on different aspects when you go to these classes. Is it easy? No. Is it challenging? Yes. Why is it challenging? I would like to share you with this. Education is not the learning of facts, but the training of the mind to think. We want you to think. We don't want you to just memorize. We don't want you to just absorb and just repeat what we have said. We want you to share with us, okay, so what do you think? What is your perspective on that? Why do you say so? Justify your reason. Explain to me, why do you feel that way? What if I disagree with you? What would you tell me? How would you convince me? So there is always back and forth. All that requires thinking. Okay, so it's not just memorizing. You can't get by the TESL program by just memorizing. You can't. Okay, I'm telling you right now, you cannot get by the TESL program if you hope that it is just memorizing. Even grammar, you can't just memorize. Maybe you're thinking, grammar, you just memorize all the rules. Yes, but in grammar, we also talk about rules. Yes, you can memorize, and after that we say, why do you think the rule is as such? So if it is wrong, then how do you correct it? And why do you correct it as such? Are there other different ways of writing the correction? So, again, thinking. And this one, would you fail? By failing, I mean, maybe you will find it difficult and challenging in the beginning. And at times, some students feel like, I'm failing. I don't think I can get by this program. I don't think I can do this, and so on and so forth. But you have not failed. What you need to do is to keep trying. And your lecturers are there to help you every step of the way, okay? And I have not failed, as what Thomas Edison says here. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. So that doesn't work. Sitting, waking up early in the morning, trying to memorize, that doesn't work. You have to find a different way. Okay, so that's what basically the program is like. It's tough, it's challenging, but it's wonderful, it's interesting, it's exciting. I can bet you all my 10 fingers on that. In addition to lectures and whatnot, we do have textbooks. And these textbooks, your lecturers will inform you on the first day of class. There are textbooks for every textbooks or manuals, for every subject. And the cost is from 350 to 450 total, not one subject, this is the amount. If you have any problems buying the books, you have any financial issues, please inform your lecturer. And we'll see how we can help you out with that. Okay, let's look at assessment now. This is an example of how you will be assessed. Fundamentals of writing, for example. Then we've got 4 assessment here. We've got midterm, assignment 1 and 2, and then your finals. If you look at the weightage, we've got 20%, 15%, 15%, and 50%, all bringing you up to 100%. The marks, when we calculate, we've got 74%, which is a B+, and this would be the grades and scores for UiTM. So where you 74, B+, that's a 3.33. That's your CGPA. By now, you have to start working on looking at your results from not just from grade perspective, but also from a CGPA perspective. I believe HEA has talked about this also yesterday, CGPA UPU versus CGPA UiTM. This is very important when you fill in the UPU form sometime next year in April, because when you apply for your undergraduate studies, it is based on CGPA UPU. And when we talk about CGPA UPU for TESL, we only look at the results of the 4 core subjects: reading in semester 1 and 2, writing in semester 1 and 2, listening, speaking semester 1 and 2, and grammar semester 1 and 2. So have a look at the briefing again and try to understand that. But it is extremely important that you try to score your best in the first semester if what you want for your degree studies is a program that is considered as a program with interviews. When it is with interviews, or we call it program bertemu duga, it is based on your first semester result. Okay, you fill in based on your first semester result. So you have to do well in your first semester. Okay, so if you don't pass you don't pass the level that is required in the first semester, you can't say that, oh, but in semester 2 I managed to do it. It doesn't matter anymore because the due date would have closed already by then. Let's look at B at TESL. Yeah, so I'm going to focus on that. As I mentioned earlier, you're primarily prepared for this program. You must pass all subjects, obtain a CGPA, UPU of at least 2.5. For you guys, it's 2.5 and at least a B in 3 subjects: reading, writing, listening, speaking, and grammar. These 4 subjects only. Not literature, not drama, not college study skills, not CTU. Only 3 out of these 4 subjects. And then you must pass the METC test. This is for those who would like to go into the education program. And you must pass the MOET test as well with a band 4. Now, where to after Asasi TESL? As I mentioned earlier, this is our main objective, Faculty of Education in UiTM. Of course, you can go to other universities, but we would love for you to come to UiTM, which is the reason why, is if you look at this one, obtain a CGPA of at least 2.5. Only for you, it's 2.5. For others, it's not 2.5, higher than 2.5. But if you don't want to, you can go to the Academy of Language Studies, Faculty of Communication and Media Studies, Information Management, Business Management and Law, basically social sciences. Okay, so you can't go into sciences, social sciences would include, I believe, one of the most famous programs TESL students will always ask is psychology or counseling, and that is also considered as social science. Now, how do we help you manage your life here? This is going to be the first time some of you will be away from your family. First time that you are regulating yourself, taking care of yourself and whatnot. Let me tell you what are your main responsibilities. The first one is academic responsibility. And how do you do this? Please attend all consultations. We've got students sometimes not attending consultations and then wondering why they don't do well. Attend consultations. At the end of the semesters, we also have academic clinics, either with your lecturer only or with the whole cohort. And then we have Asasi Open Day as well, for you to know, what do I want to do at the end of the Asasi program? If I want to be in MASCOM, you must know what MASCOM wants from you. You also have non-academic responsibilities, clubs and associations, HEP activities, and counselors, okay? Then you have this, penasihat, academic, pelajar, sila, and PAPs, or we call it mentor. Each group is assigned to a PAP or a mentor. We call them a mentor. And what is a mentor supposed to do? Check on your academic progress, your discipline, course registration, MCs, extracurricular activities. But the most important one, if you look at the end of it, is a shoulder to cry. Now for TESL, your mentor will be one of the lecturers teaching you. So you have no reason to say that, oh, I haven't been able to see my mentor. I haven't been able to get in touch with my mentor. No, your mentor will see you every week in class. So you can catch them anytime. Now, one of you, 2 of you from your class will be a class rep and also an assistant. Who would appoint you? It could be you among your friends. It could be your lecturer. But most of the time, we let you guys decide who would like to be the class rep and assistant. And the job is for you to help us communicate with group members after lecture hours. What is your code of conduct? What's the meaning of code of conduct? How do you conduct yourself? How do you behave? We're talking about behavior. Please study the materials provided before lectures. If there are any, please provide them. Please study them. Ask questions as you read and seek clarifications during lectures. Remember, I say it's thinking. It's more thinking. In TESL, you want to do well, you have to speak. You want to do well, you have to talk. You want to do well, you must ask questions. You can't just sit down and listen. No, that doesn't work. And then it's not just only asking questions and talking about your feelings and whatnot. You must jot down also what your lecturers are talking about, write down notes and whatnot. And respond to your lecturers and your friends as well. Sometimes there's group work. You must make sure that you are contributing, pulling your weight. Take notes and uphold ethics. Do not plagiarize. Do not cheat. We embrace AI to enhance our understanding of something, of any topics. But you should not be writing a prompt and then copying it wholesale and passing it off as yourself, as your own work. So do not plagiarize. So this is the code of conduct that we expect from you. We can only do 50% of it. We can come to class on time, teach you, give you slides and whatever it is that we know you need. but you need to do something with it as well, and you need to be part of the process as well, the learning process. Yeah. Tips for success. This is what I would like to show you. Sometimes some students, how do I do this? I don't know how to I don't know how to regulate myself. I've always been at home and so on and so forth. First thing is, remember, God had put you here for a reason. Okay, some of you probably are saying, I don't want to be here. Actually, it's my mom, it's my dad. This is not my what I want to do. And I understand that to a certain extent. I understand that, but you are here already. Get the 1 year over and done with, and then try to be to have a discussion on how to get what you want to do. But don't abuse the 1 year here. Do not waste the 1 year that you have here, or 10 months. It's only 10 months actually. Remember remember God, remember family, your parents, your guardians. Be responsible, be proactive, balance your academic and non-academic obligations. I know the hashtag bukan dengkil, but still, okay. Remember, you must balance. It's not just about taking pictures and whatnot. And you should. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm saying you should build memories, develop great friendship bonds and whatnot, but balance your academic obligations as well. Respect others. Adab comes first before ilmu. Yeah, you ada ilmu but no adab. People will only remember the fact that you have no manners. So adab first. Speak to your lecturers properly. Speak to admin staff properly. Bukan kak, bukan pakcik. Okay, bukan makcik, puan, encik, tuan, all right, to everyone here. Okay, even the cleaners, even the people at Anjung Dengkil, puan, cik, okay, bukan kak, bukan apa, yeah. Those are for the people that you are very close with. And then you must have a thirst of knowledge. When you have a thirst of knowledge, and you will always be feeling like, okay, I want to ask this question. Madam, what do you think? And you can, we lecturers, we feel very happy when you ask us like questions. Madam, what do you think? I don't agree with you. That we become even happier, you know, when you say we disagree with you. And then we have that sharing session. And of course, discipline. If you know you're going to have a lot of assessments due on that day, you don't need to be going out all the time. Do that on a different week. All right? And read. One thing you need to do, most important in a university, is read. And with TESL, it's even more important because that's where you enhance your vocabulary. That's where you improve your grammar. That's where you learn to become more critical. Okay, so these are your responsibilities, academic responsibilities, your well-being and all that, and build supportive relationship. And I would like to share you with this two here, two quotes. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. If you've been complaining, this is not fair, this is not fair, this is not right, this is not, this is this, and so on and so forth, you must start with education. And finally, you're not here just for education. Be the reason why people believe in kindness, honesty, integrity, and positivity. Don't be the reason why people crash down. Don't be the reason why people feel upset and depressed and so on and so forth. Yeah, be the person who would support. And finally, from our Prophet, the best among you are those who bring the greatest benefits to others. Find a reason. How do I support you? How do I help you? You know, how do I help you feel better? How do I help you learn better? And so on. Okay, and so with that, I've come to the end of my briefing. I know it's very fast, but you're coming next week. You have a whole year to experience all this. So my last word to you is enjoy your new adventure. You will love it. You will enjoy it. It's the teaching and learning in class with your wonderful lecturers. They're interesting, they're exciting, they are funny. Some of us are very much older than you, but don't you underestimate us. We do TikToks with you. We can do that. And at the same time, you know, you will develop new friendships and so on and so on. These friendships will last. Okay. All right. So enjoy your new adventure. Welcome again to Pusat Asasi. With that, I end my briefing. Thank you very much. Saya pass baton balik pada Encik Amir. Tapi saya
terima kasih Madam Shima. Saya memanggil Madam Shima lah. Panggilan di Pusat Asasi sebagai Madam Shima atas kesudian meluangkan masa menyampaikan taklimat yang saya rasa laju, sangat laju.
Haji
Harap
tak apa, dia
pelajar yang mendengar ada, saya tengok di YouTube dalam 430 mata memandang
Oh, okey.
taklimat yang disampaikan oleh Madam Shima. Saya rasa
Uh-uh.
ada beberapa soalan. Sebelum kita menamatkan sesi ni, ada soalan.
Saya ada
Minta
nampak soalan kat tepi ni.
Madam
Okey.
teruskan
Okey, so
dengan
soalan
menjawab soalan yang saya bagi tu.
Okay, baik. Soalan pertama. Sorry, madam, may I ask, for drama, are we creating some sort of scene within group mates or a full story collaborating with other students in different groups? Right now, it's just in your class, okay? It's in your class, but it's not just your group mates. Now, when you go to class, maybe we'll say, okay, for this assignment, you will be doing it in groups of 5. So there will be like probably 5 groups with 5 students in each group, okay? But before, for the assessment, yes, you will work on it with that group. But when we are teaching, we just get you to, what about you come to the stage, and how about you come to the stage? We don't bother about which group you come from. Okay, so you work with the group, however, so it's not intergroup. So T1 and T1, T2 and T2 only, T3 and T3 only. Okay, so I hope I answered that question. And the next one says, Madam, may I ask what CGPA we need to achieve to further our studies for a degree in TESL? The one that I showed you earlier just now was for UiTM. In UiTM, because Asasi UiTM, so you are macam anak-anak fakulti pendidikan jugalah ya, in UiTM. So that's why CGPA 2.5 with a minimum of B for 3 subjects: reading, writing, listening, speaking, and grammar. In the first semester, you must remember, the BA TESL program is program bertemu duga. Therefore, your first semester, you must do very well. But that is only for UiTM. If you want to go to UKM, you want to go UM and all that, you have to log on their website and find out. Okay? Still based on CGPA UPU. Okay, next one. Earlier, we weren't shown a syllabus structure. What subjects will we be taking in TESL? We will... right. Now, for this semester, it's actually a new curriculum. Okay, we've done our curriculum review and all that. That's part and parcel of quality control. Yeah, so it's a new curriculum. That's why I didn't show it to you yet. Okay, because I wanted to make sure that it is how it should be before I show it to you. But it is a new curriculum structure. Will the books, I figured that you will ask me about the books. Can we buy textbooks from seniors for a cheaper price? Now, we do sell the books. No, not us. I mean, we have a vendor selling the book, and you buy from the vendor. Now, is it compulsory for you to buy the book or not? No, it's not compulsory. We don't make it compulsory. But we do know that it is highly challenging when you do not have books or manuals in the classroom. So what I suggest you do is go to the class first. Do not buy the books yet from your seniors, okay? Because different lecturers have different books. So because it's in a new curriculum, some of them may have new books. Some of them may have the same book, or some of them may have the same book, but they have done some additions. So ask your respective lecturer. Don't buy it right now. When you go to class, or starting the 15th, ask your lecturer. Okay, we are all aware that you may seek to look for books from your seniors, and we are fine with that. But make sure that it is the right book first before you buy it. Okay. Okay, 3 soalan. Alright.
Banyak soalan di
Okay.
YouTube. Tu banyak soalan. Saya rasa bagi saya
Lebih
soalan-soalan
kurang
tu
ya.
mereka boleh cari.
Okay.
Masuk dulu. Nanti ada first day class. Kat situ anda semua boleh berjumpa dengan pensyarah-pensyarah lecturer ni semua. Boleh. Kat situ korang akan dapat jawapan lebih tepat lah.
Betul.
Kena feel dulu. Masuk dulu depan kan. Tengok dulu keadaan, tengok dulu suasana di kampus. Lepas tu baru anda semua akan tahu selebihnya lah. Itu saja setakat ini, sebab ada lagi taklimat selepas ini. Bukan kita tak nak menjawab persoalan, cuma kita mengalami masalah masa jugalah. Jadi apa yang berlaku tadi, taklimat tadi sangat-sangat faham lah saya rasa. Harap faham kepada semua pelajar yang mendengar. Okay, dengan ini berakhirlah sesi taklimat daripada Ketua Pusat Pengajian Asasi TESL, Madam Nur Hashimah Muhammad Syukur, dan terima kasih atas kesudian meluangkan masa memberi taklimat tadi. Itu sahaja. Terima kasih. Apa yang salah daripada kami harap dimaafkan. Kita berjumpa minggu depan dan selamat datang. Selamat mengalami pengalaman yang baik di sini insya-Allah.
Ya.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.